Thanks for listening to this episode of Screen Facts with Jason Davis, your movie trivia and discussion podcast. Please like the Facebook page and leave your comments or questions at facebook.com/screenfacts. You could also tweet me at Jason Davis Voice or email screenfacts@yahoo.com. Please rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes to automatically get new episodes every Wednesday. Well, welcome back to the show, my incredible wife, Sue.
Hi.
Always fun to talk movies with the wifey. So it's baseball month, and there are probably very few things on the planet Earth that you care less about than baseball.
That is very true. Well, professional baseball.
Except if it's New Jersey Jackals
Well,
baseball.
yeah, that's different.
That we enjoy.
Yeah, but I'm not a major league fan.
No, I'm becoming less and less a Major League Baseball fan.
Yeah.
One thing that we do agree on is there are a couple of good baseball movies that we both like.
Yes.
There's a lot of baseball movies that I like.
Mm-hmm.
There's
and there are a few that I like.
Yes, and today we're going to talk about one of the few.
That's right.
And one that certainly is pretty much tailor-made for you as far as baseball movies go.
Are you saying that I'm in a league of my own?
That's true, but we're going to talk about A League of Their Own because it's the one baseball movie that's women. And woo! Girl power.
That's right.
So, obviously, women are baseball fans too, but I'm sure this movie speaks to you on a level that
Many
goes
levels.
beyond baseball.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, A League of Their Own, originally released July 1st, 1992, directed by Penny Marshall. Marshall cast her daughter Tracy Reiner as Betty Spaghetti and her brother Gary as Walter Harvey. As it turns out, Gary was cast at the last minute because Penny couldn't afford her original choice for the part, Christopher Walken.
Okay, hold up. 'Cause could you even imagine that?
You gotta have Harvey bars. They're delicious. They're really good. And they're great when you're watching baseball.
I could not imagine him in this.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, so Gary Marshall was great. You know, it's a small role, and you know he's fun in the movie.
Yeah.
And Walter Harvey is based on Chicago Cubs owner Philip Wrigley, the real-life founder of the league that this movie is based on.
And did you know? Now we've watched this a couple of times. This movie together. I remember seeing it when it came out. We've seen it with Tommy maybe once or twice.
Probably.
And we're getting ready
at least once.
But we were getting ready to watch it for this. I said to him, you know, part of the reason I like this is because it's based on true story. And he just looked at me like lobsters were crawling out of my ears. He had no idea that the league actually existed.
And I'm ashamed to admit this because I am a baseball fan. I was not aware of this league before this movie either.
I wasn't either.
Yeah. It's
either.
really a shame that more people weren't aware about this.
I know. At that time in American history, baseball was struggling.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the ball players were shipped off to war during World War II.
And a lot of even, you know, minor league players were being shipped out too. So in order to keep the sport going, Wrigley decided to form the Women's League.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a misconception here that Major League Baseball shut down during the war. It actually didn't. The baseball still happened, but it was replacement players. You know, I think they pretty much were, for lack of a better term, scraping the bottom of the barrel for players at that time. And so I think they did this also as a way to kind of boost morale.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
If everything happens the way it's portrayed in the movie, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's pretty cool. The story was written by Kim Wilson and Kelly Candinelli, and I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Kelly's mother played in the league that's portrayed in the movie.
Yeah, he had actually written a memoir about his mom playing, and actually his mom and his aunt both played.
Oh, wow.
So the relationship in the movie is based on the fact that he had family that were sisters playing. The difference was they were not pitcher and catcher.
Okay.
So when it came time for the movie, they actually thought pitcher and catcher would be more interesting.
Oh, it makes sense.
I don't remember what part the original girls really played.
The whole sibling rivalry in the movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of the players that are portrayed in this movie are actual players. You know, like, was there really a Betty Spaghetti? Was there, you know?
Mostly they said they weren't real, actual depictions. They were, you know, all fictional characters, but maybe some were based on people someone knew.
Right.
Some of them were composites.
Okay.
But they did say that if you were to talk to the women involved, that if you asked who was made based on, they would all raise their hands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's really funny. So the screenplay for the movie was written by the team of Lowell Gans and Babalu Mandel. And if those names sound vaguely familiar to you, it could be because you heard them mention in the podcast for Night Shift that it did with my man, The Blazer, way back. This team has written a lot of stuff. and we covered that in that podcast. They're no strangers to Penny Marshall because they worked on Happy Days and some other stuff that involved that group of people. So, but they're great writers, amazing writers. So the movie stars Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Lori Petty, Madonna, and Rosie O'Donnell, among others. Estimated budget of $40 million, gross domestically $107.5 million, and a worldwide gross of $132.4 million. So, pretty good box office for this kind of movie. You know?
Yeah.
Very cool. And actually won some awards, too. Gina Davis was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Comedy or Musical.
Cool.
Best Original Song for Madonna's This Used to Be My Playground. Tom Hanks won an American Comedy Award for Funniest Supporting Actor for his role in this. This was before all of his Oscar success.
Oh, okay.
A couple of years before, because,
Okay.
you know, Philadelphia, I think, was the year after this or a couple of years after this, and then Forrest Gump. So this was probably one of the first of those movies that you kind of go, oh, there's some real acting going on there.
Yeah. And Penny Marshall, no accolades, right? Because that's usually what happens in a Penny Marshall movie.
Well, you know, it's funny because it's not the first time that a woman has directed a great movie and done a really great job with it and has been snubbed. I remember there was a lot of controversy over Prince of Tides. Barbara Streisand directed that, and nobody, you know, gave her the time of day either. So
didn't Penny Marshall direct Awakenings?
I think she might
Which
have actually.
like got all sorts of awards, and didn't it even get like Best Picture nods and this and that and everything, and nothing for Best Director?
Yeah, I mean, listen, with all of the controversy that happened this past Oscar year, you know, Oscars so white and all that kind of stuff. Women, minorities, there's been a lot of groups that have been overlooked for years and years. And, you know, you go back to the 90s, forget it. I mean, I think now women have started to get a little bit of recognition.
They're starting.
They're
starting that long climb up towards that glass ceiling.
I don't really get it. I don't understand why women make less than men for the same work.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. I have no idea what that's all about. And as a man, I want to see that change because it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
One interesting thing about the salaries that the women make when they're playing baseball is that they were making good money at that time.
That's interesting.
I learned that they would get maybe, I think they mentioned in the movie, didn't they say like...
I forget what, there was a funny line from John Lovitz.
45 to 75 and upwards or something like that.
Something like that. But then Lori Petty says, oh, we only make 30 at the dairy. And John Lovitz says, well, then it's more then, isn't it?
Yeah, but they were making on average 75 to 85 a week. And in some cases, that would be more money than what their fathers were earning at that time.
That's really something.
Yeah.
So in 2012, the movie was selected by the U.S. Library of Congress for preservation in the National Film Registry archives, too.
Makes sense to me.
Absolutely. It's a historical league and all that, so it makes sense. And it's a great movie, too. I mean, it's really good. The story is inspired by the career of Dottie Collins. Gina Davis's character is Dottie Hinson, but it probably could be argued that her character was mostly based, even though she's a catcher in the movie. During World War II, Dottie Collins played for the league and pitched 17 shutouts during her 6-year career. Now, that's amazing.
She was amazing. Now, in my little travels around Google doing my research on this, I stumbled across the article written in the hometown paper when Dottie Collins died. When she was 84.
Okay.
And it described her baseball career, among other things. And it said that she started in 43, and in 1948, she actually played up until she was 4 months pregnant.
Wow.
And she played hard.
That's amazing.
They had actually switched over from underhand to overhand pitching at that point.
Okay.
And they kept the pitchers in the whole time, too.
Yeah.
She pitched a doubleheader, underhand, won both in a day. She actually was quoted in an interview, I think when they were working on the movie. Yeah, I won the doubleheader. I pitched underhand. I could have pitched overhand and won it. But you know what? Men wouldn't be able to throw overhand and win a doubleheader, but men can't do anything. That was her attitude.
That's great. So in the film, the league is kind of portrayed as being a slow starter.
Yeah,
people are kind of laughing at the players and this and that.
Yeah.
But it was actually popular and profitable from the beginning in real life.
Yeah, because you know why?
Because there was no baseball where they were playing.
Right. And women were already in the workplace.
Yeah.
It was 43 when they started the league, and women had been working since 1941 in the factories.
Okay.
So society
Rosie the
was
Riveter
starting.
and all that?
Yeah, society was starting to take women a little more seriously.
Sure.
So it wasn't like a stretch.
Yeah.
To say, oh, now they're going to play baseball.
Yeah, I mean, in the upper Midwest where the league was based, there was no way to watch a live baseball game at the time. So that's really why it was really popular right out of the gate.
Yeah. They realized that people needed a diversion, but gas was being rationed, so most people couldn't afford to drive far for entertainment.
Okay.
So that was why they kept all the games in a certain geographic area.
Right.
And people could go to a game and it was affordable and they could afford the gas. It was really well thought out.
Yeah, it's really cool. And that's one of the things I love, not to veer too far from the movie really quick. One of the things I love about watching the Jackals play is that, it's a local professional team, but you feel like you're a part of something when you go to those games, Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're anywhere in the northern New Jersey area, go see New Jersey Jackals baseball. Just Google them.
Oh, it's so great. It's easy to get to. The parking is free. The food is affordable. And it's like a hometown team.
Yeah. Gina Davis wasn't the original choice to play Dottie.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And she joined the production kind of late. She was a late replacement for Deborah Winger. I've always been a fan of Deborah Winger. I think she's really good. But she had a back injury that forced her out of production.
Okay.
Gina Davis actually auditioned for Penny Marshall in her backyard. If you can imagine that. Yeah. By the time she joined the production, the cast had been doing baseball training for a few months. So the cool thing is that she happens to be a really good athlete, and she caught on, no pun intended, really fast. I mean, she got right up to speed and actually started outplaying some of her co-stars with limited training.
Wow, that's funny, yeah.
Yeah, and there were some other people that were considered for the part as well. Brooke Shields, Sean Young, Demi Moore, and Laura Dern. And Jim Belushi had been considered for the Tom Hanks role of Jimmy Dugan.
Okay.
Which actually, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm just not sure I could see Deborah Winger in it, though. Because, I could see some of the other names, yeah, maybe. But, part of the whole big deal about Dottie was not just how she played, but, apparently, she was just beautiful. And Gina Davis pulls that off. And I'm not sure Deborah Winger could really pull off she's a showstopper, I'm not being catty. I'm just saying.
No. I get what you're saying. I mean, Gina Davis is tall.
Yeah.
She's kind of striking.
She's got that strong jaw, those, that
the lips.
mouth, the lipstick. I mean, she really...
Yeah, Deborah Winger, I think, is attractive, but I get what you're saying. For the famous split catch,
love that.
Gina Davis had to have a stunt double slide into the split. She could do a split. She just couldn't slide into it.
Well, yeah, that's
kind of
a little
tricky.
different.
Very few people could probably pull that off.
Yeah, I mean, if a dancer could, but yeah. I don't know.
But all the actresses, with the exception of Gina Davis, did their own baseball stunts.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so there was some real injuries and bruises and things like that happened.
Yep. I like the scene where they're trying out, too.
Yeah, and
that's fun, just watching them run and watching them all, like the part where they're all sliding one after another,
The original tryout in the movie takes place at Wrigley Field, which is kind of cool. But there's a lot of cool stuff when they're recruiting the players.
Yes.
I mean, the whole thing with, I'm trying to remember what her name is in the movie. Marla, yeah. I mean, she's like whacking the ball in the gymnasium.
She's breaking windows.
Yeah, all that.
Then she switch hits.
Yeah, switch hitter, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Then when she pulls her hair out of her face and John Lovitz sees her, the look on his face gets me every time.
Like shock and then a grimace.
Oh.
She's not ugly, but they just play her up so homely. She's all like sunken in and scared to look at people, and she's never left home before.
Yeah.
I
thought it was interesting how her father says, oh, it's my fault because I raised her like a boy. I taught her how to play baseball. I always wanted a boy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with genetics. If you're not the most physically attractive person, whether you have athletic skill or were raised a certain way, I don't think it matters. But you're right.
Yeah,
like later on in the movie when they show her singing to, what's his name, Norman?
Nelson.
Nelson.
Yeah.
I can't get it right. When she's singing to Nelson.
It had to be you.
And she's done up with the dress. Yeah, I mean, she's not glamorous by any stretch.
But you know what?
But yeah, I think in the beginning they definitely downplay her looks more.
Yeah.
Then the other gag when they're doing the newsreel.
Yes.
And they're introducing all the players, and they have the shot of her, and it's like a far shot.
Yes, because she's out in the outfield. So
and there's Marla. Boy, she can really play. So good. So good. Tom Hanks is so good in this movie. As the kind of washed up player playing the manager.
Yeah.
And he gained 30 pounds in preparation for the role. He says that he gained the weight by frequently going to a nearby Dairy Queen.
Oh, sorry, I've got to go prepare for the movie. Give me a blizzard.
Yeah, exactly. So all during filming, though, Penny Marshall encouraged Hanks to keep on eating.
Yeah.
But his character, Jimmy Dugan, is loosely based on real-life baseball sluggers Jimmy Fox and Hank Wilson. Tom Hanks has a couple of really great scenes in the movie.
Yes. And of course, what does he do in this movie? Let's mention it for Les.
Yes, Les. Yes, he pees for 55 seconds in the movie.
One big, long, steady stream, and then he starts shaking it out.
For the rest of you listening, when I did the podcast with Les Sinclair for The Green Mile, we talked about how in a lot of Tom Hanks movies, I don't know if it's every one, but in a lot of them, he either pees or references peeing. Mm-hmm. And if you want kind of the list, check out that podcast.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. But there we are watching the movie, and he comes in and he goes to the urinal and starts peeing, and I just said, and Tom Hanks is peeing.
That's right. That's a funny scene too, because he just walks past all the players, and one of them is trying to get him to sign a baseball card for her husband, and then when he takes the baseball card, he just rips it in half. Yeah. Nice guy.
Yeah.
But of course, the most famous Tom Hanks scene: "There's no crying in baseball."
Yes.
So funny.
Yeah.
And then with the umpire, "Jimmy, perhaps you chastised her a little bit too vehemently."
Did I ever tell you? You look like a giant penis with a hat on. You're out of here.
Oh, man. As great as Tom Hanks is and a lot of the other actors in the movie, the scene stealer of all scene stealers is John Lovitz. So
yes.
You got to give it up for John Lovitz in this movie. Kind of less is more with him. Mm-hmm. Originally, he was supposed to be in more of the movie. And then when they were watching the footage that they shot, they kind of said that his jokes and his scenes would have more impact if we scale his role down a little bit more. And it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, his stuff in this movie is so funny.
Yeah, I could see that, because if he kept going with it, I think he would just come across as plain old mean.
Yeah.
And not funny.
Yeah.
But he just keeps zinging in those little comments and lines.
That's the funny thing, too, because he does come off as being very mean. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think either Gina Davis or Lori Petty says, "You're not nice."
Yeah, You're not a nice person.
You're not a nice person.
And he said, "Oh, that hurts."
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, he comes off as really mean and rude and everything. And then after he drops them off at Wrigley Field and he's saying his goodbyes, he shows that he's, he kind of has a little bit of a heart there,
A little bit, yeah.
"Oh, I know you're going to miss me, whatever."
Yeah. I'll get a shower, have a meal, give my wife a pickle tickle.
Pickle tickle, I love it.
Another thing I forgot about the John Lovitz character, when he goes to see the girls at the farm, he wants Dottie.
Right.
And then Kit's all interested, Dottie isn't.
Right.
The reason he decided to give her a try was because he put his hand on her arm to pat her, "Oh, that's okay," to console her.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he felt her muscles.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because she was like, "Here, just watch me throw a couple." He's like, No. Oh, actually.
Yeah, he felt her pitching arm.
Yeah, and that was
right.
really cool. And I loved how the girls were so competitive with each other, even at home.
Yeah.
Who can walk home faster? Who can do this more? Who can, they were just so competitive.
As competitive as they were against each other and all those things, you could tell that they really love each other because Dottie's like, "You can't have me unless you take her too."
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
It's a great part of the movie. That reminded me of another funny John Lovitz line when they're, at the train station. "You got to get on the train. See, the train moves, not the station," or something like that.
This is how it works.
This is how it works.
Yeah, and then he's gone for a big chunk of the film, and then later on when they bring it into the 90s for the reunion, and you see his picture up, and then the guy stands next to it.
Yeah, like the
he's
old
got
guy.
the same nose and the same cigar. You go, "Oh!"
Yeah, that's a fun thing at the end of the movie when, they're at the Hall of Fame and you see all of the older versions of the players and then, of course, Stillwell.
Yeah.
He has grown up to become Francis from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Go figure.
Yeah.
"Stillwell, Angel, have another chocolate bar."
So funny.
"You're gonna lose, we're gonna win."
When he throws the glove at his face, it's great.
Yes, smacks him right in the face.
I'm sure people loudly applauded in the theater when that happened.
Yeah. There's something very satisfying about seeing a really annoying kid get it.
his, yeah. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
You don't want the kid to be maimed.
Of course not. What are we, monsters?
Well, maybe one of us is, but you're terrible, honey.
Oh.
Hey-oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, come
okay,
on.
let me be clear. I'm the monster here. The Racine Bells home games were filmed at Bosse Field in Evansville, Indiana. What they did was they retrofitted the entire stadium to look like it did back in the day. And the stadium is now used by the Evansville Otters, a Frontier League baseball team.
Cool.
The ball girls wear the Bells uniforms.
Ah.
So there's a nice little tribute there.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, those uniforms were special designed for the league.
Yeah.
And they were actually based on other female athletes' uniforms, like figure skating and
Okay.
maybe field hockey or I
Okay.
don't know, whatever was being played back then. And it's funny because in the movie, all the girls are going, I can't wear that. That's too short. My husband will kill me, or I can't slide in that.
Right.
But they actually had rules about the uniforms. Everyone had the same uniform. They were all just different colors. For the different teams with a different emblem on the front.
Right.
And they had to be a certain length of the skirt.
Right.
So no one would wear them too short.
Right. Of
Yeah.
course.
And then the girls had to, and I say girls, I mean the youngest players were 15.
Okay.
And there were some teenagers, but mostly like 20 up to 24 maybe was the average at
Okay.
that time.
That makes sense.
I'm calling them girls because I'm old enough to be their mother, but
That's fine. That's fine.
these young women.
Yeah.
Not only the movie was correct in showing them doing all of their practicing during the day, and then in the evening they had to go to charm school.
That's right.
That was for real.
Yeah.
They had to learn how to stand and how to walk and
How to carry themselves.
Yeah. And I love in the movie, they're all sitting there doing the tea and they're slurping and sipping and everything. And then you see Rosie O'Donnell's like leaning over her plate and she's eating all the cookies. They show the woman going down the line and she's like evaluating them based on their looks. And that was another real thing because they were supposed to look like all American girls.
Right.
So, I mean, they had rules about no jewelry on the field,
Right.
which is typical. And your hair shouldn't be too short because they didn't want them to look boyish. They had rules about their makeup. Your nails should always be clean, so be sure after a game you scrub your fingernails. And when they were in public, they weren't allowed to be seen smoking or drinking.
Right.
Or, rebel rousing with the opposite sex. They had the chaperone. Mm-hmm. Anywhere they went had to be approved by the chaperone or have a chaperone go with them.
Right.
If they drove out of the city limits, they could get kicked off the team.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
the scene where they all go to that bar, like that would have gotten them kicked out if they were caught.
Sure. This is kind of a cool thing, too, because, I talked about the family members that Penny Marshall put in the movie. But she also had former Laverne and Shirley co-stars in this movie, too.
That's right.
That, blink and you miss them.
Yeah.
But in that scene in particular, Eddie Mecca, who played Shirley's boyfriend, Carmen the Big Ragu,
Oh yeah.
he's the one that's dancing with Madonna for most of the time.
Yeah. Well, he was a dancer also.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he played a dance instructor on the show, didn't he? On Laverne and
I
Shirley?
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And David L. Lander, a.k.a. Squiggy.
Nice.
He's the commentator that's calling the games.
Right.
He's uncredited, but he got that gig partially because, not only because he knows Penny Marshall, but in real life, he's a big baseball fan, and he became a scout for the Anaheim Angels.
Oh, cool.
So, he's got a background in baseball as well.
That probably was a lot of fun for him to do that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The big World Series game in the movie, when they were filming that, it was over 100 degrees. So you can imagine how pleasant that was.
Oh.
During the filming, the stars took turns entertaining the unpaid extras that were there. Tom Hanks did puppet shows over the dugout. Rosie O'Donnell did some stand-up. Madonna was the only one that didn't want to play along. She was kind of very unpleasant, it sounds like. So a lot of the other actors pretended to be her and perform for the fans.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of funny.
Put on the cone bra and do some
Maybe,
songs.
yeah, maybe. But it turns out that she really didn't have a good time working on the film either,
Oh,
in
the
general.
diva. Please.
She wrote a handwritten letter to a photographer named Stephen Meisel, and she said, quote, "I cannot suffer any more than I have in the past month, learning how to play baseball with a bunch of girls. Yuck. In Chicago. Double yuck. I have a tan, I'm dirty all day, and I hardly ever wear makeup. Gina Davis is a Barbie doll, and when God decided where the beautiful men were going to live in the world, he did not choose Chicago.
Oh.
I have made a few friends, but they are athletes, not actresses. I wish I could come to New York."
Oh, please get over yourself. Yikes.
The older Dottie and Kit, they're actually played by different actresses. They didn't use makeup.
Yeah.
But I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah,
Like
there are
the
very
casting.
good physical similarities.
Yeah. I mean, not exact, but they're played by Lynn Cartwright and Kathleen Butler. However, their voices are dubbed by Gina Davis and Lori Petty. So
That's a really cool idea.
that was done in the original Superman movie from 1978. Again, talked about in that podcast
Okay,
with Les
right,
Sinclair.
right.
One thing I got to say about that, when you get older, you sound different
You
than you
do, don't you? Doesn't
Yeah.
your voice like kind of like deepen or mature a little bit or something?
Probably
Even
a little
women.
bit. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
think so. It's funny because I probably watched this movie before and I said, wow, she even kind of sounds like Gina Davis.
Oh, golly.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I never realized until this last time we watched it, and you
Well,
told me.
when I did the research and I read that,
Yeah.
then I was actually paying more attention to
Yeah.
it. And now that I'm watching it, I'm going, it doesn't work for me as well because I get why they do it, but Gina Davis's voice doesn't look like it should be coming out of that actress.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and then the other women playing the other parts, all the other players
Right.
are using their actual voices.
I guess
too,
I guess they
so-
figured that, you've been watching this movie, you've been invested for 2 hours, and you're kind of attuned to Gina Davis's voice pattern and maybe
Yeah.
Lori Petty's
Yeah.
voice. So,
No, they didn't do that in Green Mile, right? With the older Tom Hanks character.
no.
The only thing they did for him was the colored contact lenses, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
But he used his actual own voice.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying watching these baseball movies again. I love baseball. We've talked about that. And I love movies about baseball.
Right,
And
right.
so this month it's going to be fun going through these baseball movies with everybody that I do the podcast with. And this one was no exception.
Yeah, I'm
This
glad
is a
you-
special one.
Yeah, I'm glad you chose to do this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I really am because,
It's a great movie, too.
it is a good movie. And I mean, it's one of the very few movies out there where the leads are women.
Yeah.
And they actually have whole names and they talk to each other. And it's about something other than boys. Sorry, I had to throw in the Bechdel scale there. I had to do it.
That's all right.
But based, in the beginning, we talked about the box office, and it shows that movies with women can sell,
Oh, absolutely.
and this
Absolutely.
was so incredibly female heavy.
Yeah.
It's just me waving my little feminist hat over here, but I think more movies should be like this.
Listen, I don't think you have to be a feminist to appreciate diversity,
Yeah.
This movie is great, not just because of the strong female cast, not just because of the historical value. It's a well-written, well-acted movie, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
And, as long as women have opportunities to play good roles,
Yeah.
in movies that are well-written, then I don't think gender has anything to do with whether a movie is marketable or not, especially if the movie company gets behind something. That's the thing. You got to have faith in your product.
Right,
And
right.
you really got to put it out there the right way.
Right.
You can't go, oh, here's a movie with starring all women. Hopefully you'll like this.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't do
Oh
that.
my gosh, they all keep their clothes on. Oh golly, this is terrible.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, I mean, listen, there's
Sorry,
obviously
fellas.
there's obviously movies that come out that are clearly being marketed to a female audience.
Yeah. And then nowadays there are more women taking that power into their own hands.
Yeah.
So if they're not finding opportunities in the system that exists, they're making their own.
Yeah.
In 92, when Penny Marshall did it, I don't know what it was like back then.
I wonder if there was a struggle to get this movie greenlit.
I
you know?
wonder.
But you're preaching to the choir here
I know.
because you know me. I like movies for the movies. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do. In fact, there's movies that I'm a fan of that are probably more, female centric, for lack of a better term, than you are. For example, When Harry Met Sally. I love When Harry Met Sally. You're not a fan.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think that's another movie that's very well written by a woman.
Right.
Very talented Nora Ephron movie.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
She was great. And I think women are starting to break through more and more in Hollywood. There's been a lot of reports lately, especially Elizabeth Banks,
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Eva Longoria.
And speaking of movies that, you wouldn't think that a guy would be a big fan of, Pitch Perfect.
Oh, please.
Huge fan.
Love it.
Well, anything else that you want to talk about A League of Their Own? I mean, there's probably a million things that we could cover.
There's so many things I could talk about. I mean, first of all, I love the period.
Oh, yeah.
I love movies from this time period. And I love the fact that there is a lot of, snarkiness and comedy and underhandedness and everything, because I think nowadays people think of that time as such like an innocent,
Right.
golly gee
Prudish.
willikers time.
Yeah.
So to see them, smoking cigarettes and going out and
Yeah.
everything, I think that's fun and cool.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, and I love the sister relationship.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And at the end of the historical part of the movie, when Dottie's going to go and be with her husband and Kit's going to stay around, and so Dottie's getting ready to go, and Kit says, well, now I want you around and you're leaving, and then they hug. I mean, that brought me to tears.
Sure.
First of all, the actresses are so good.
Yeah.
The writing's so good. I'm sitting there watching it going, I love my sister. I'm going to call her.
Of course.
It's just great.
It's the same kind of emotion that every time I watch Field of Dreams,
Yeah.
that gets me every single time, the end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's the one positive connection I have to my dad, you know? Is playing catch.
Yeah.
So it gets me every time.
It's got the comedy, it's got touching parts, you know, it's got the old historical, it's got the current, which was 92 at the time.
Right.
You know, it's just, to me, it's got a little bit of everything. I love it.
Yeah, A League of Their Own is a great baseball movie. It's a great movie, period. You don't even have to be a big fan of baseball to appreciate the greatness of this movie.
Is the exhibit still in Cooperstown?
Yeah, they have a section in Cooperstown
cool.
dedicated to
Cool.
it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for doing the podcast with me.
You're welcome.
Again, don't forget to leave your comments or questions on our Facebook page, facebook.com/screenfacts. You can also tweet me at Jason Davis Voice or email screenfacts@yahoo.com. Thanks to you for listening, and thanks to our announcer, Kim. You can hear more from her at kimsvoice.com. Thanks to our friends at wickedradionetwork.com and show theme music by audionautics.com.
Screen Facts with Jason Davis is a production of Jason Davis VoiceOver. Visit jasondavisvoice.com if you need a voice for a commercial, narration, promo, internet video, e-learning or training program, and more. Click on the podcast page to get information about where you can download and listen to past episodes. Listen again next Wednesday for a new episode of Screen Facts with Jason Davis.